What's up, guys? This is another episode of Challenger Approaching with EvenMatchupGaming. I am Toronto Joe, and the man currently sitting next to me, he needs no introduction, but tell him who you are.
My name is Robert Wright. I go by the tag of Wobbles in the Super Smash Bros. Melee community. I play as the Ice Climbers, and I've recently done a lot better in tournaments than I have in the past, so I'm pretty happy.
So, you just opened up Pandora's box in terms of things we can talk about with that introduction, but let's talk about your run at EVO. Can you describe to people what your mindset was going into the tournament? Because we've seen a lot with Mango's blog, him going into depth of how he prepared and how he felt in that environment. But you were just as integral to the story of EVO with Ice Climbers. So can you give people a little bit of backstory on how you prepared and what you were thinking going into the match?
I guess I would say for the previous 8.5 years of Melee, I was always extremely nervous for tournaments. I always really wanted to win and prove myself. So any tournament I went to, I was thinking, I want to win. How am I going to win? When am I going to win? Yeah. And then if, eventually I would lose to some amazing player, but I'd be super down on myself, or I'd lose to someone I thought I shouldn't have lost to, and I'd be super mad. So over those years, I developed this mindset, like, I've got to win. I have to win. And then for EVO, I kind of realized I decided to quit before EVO. That EVO was my last tournament. And I wanted EVO. I thought about it. I didn't want to have regrets at EVO. And almost every other tournament I'd been to, I was always unhappy with how I did, even if I got like third against the best in the country, right? And that's kind of silly. I mean, it's part of the perfectionist competitive drive, but it's not everything. And I just really wanted my last tournament to be like a no regrets, have a blast. I'm willing to show up even if I go 0-2. Even if I just loss, I'm out. I want to enjoy it like the first time that I ever played Melee.
So with this clear mindset that you had going in, why did you decide to make EVO your last tournament? Because that's pretty profound to make not only your final tournament, but the last statement you made competitively as a player in the community, the biggest event that Smash has seen.
Well, it was just kind of getting to be that time anyhow. I was just feeling that I liked playing and competing, but all the training that you have to do to keep up with all these other players, or in my case, improve to get on their level, it's a lot of effort. You travel, you go around, you pick up your buddies, you play until 3 in the morning because you keep saying one more game, I have to work, and then, oh, whoops, birds are singing outside the window. And like that was taking a toll on me, and I wanted to go back to school and finish and do all that. And I knew that if I was trying to continue to compete, I would continue to have that drive, and it would really wear on me. And then we got into EVO, and I thought, my last tournament should be the biggest tournament we have. That's amazing. And it's EVO. So even if I do lose EVO and I get out, I get to walk around and watch all the other games and matches. Like, it was win-win for me by going there and saying, this is going to be it. This is going to be a blast. This is going to be incredible. Just super excited.
Talking about the environment in EVO, did you expect the FGC to embrace your wobbling as much as they did? Because people went crazy for that when they saw it. And it's crazy because that's sort of a different story. In the Smash community, wobbling was generally looked down upon. A lot of people had qualms with it. Some tournaments even went as far as to ban it. So when you saw the FGC embracing it, how did it make you feel?
I kind of knew that the FGC liked wobbling because back when Melee had been at EVO before, I won EVO South, people were talking about banning it, and I was writing up my responses on the internet, trying to be, rules warrior, trying to defend my character and my tactic. And the FGC was just like, yeah, dude, play to win. We like that. Serlin Jr., right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
They were totally supportive of it, and so I kind of knew that they supported that kind of thing, the play-to-win mindset, because really what it came down to was, if you really think it's broken, you should just use it and prove it. And that's actually why I started using it to begin with. I'm like, this is so broken. I should go win with it. And I realized I couldn't win with just infinites. You had to master all these other parts of the game, at which point it's like, yeah, kind of not broken if you have to be the best to win. So that was my take on it. I knew the FGC supported that kind of thing, but it really was still weird having people cheer for me, because unless I was in Arizona, I'm always the outsider. I'm always the away team. And to give you an idea of like how unpopular Ice Climbers and that Infinite are, during the USA vs. World crew battle at Apex.
Not getting anything for free.
Against Gucci. A really tight battle.
No.
And there were more people cheering for him than for me. The Japanese Captain Falcon in the USA vs. the World, and it's Falcon, and okay, Gucci's super cool. That's,
Yeah, shoutouts to Gucci.
shoutouts to Gucci. He's a cool dude. We had a set later. It was 2-1, I think. It was a really good set. But yeah, like Smashers, they want to see the flash, they want to see the improv, they want to see the obvious display of tech. Infinites don't do any of that, but the FGC loves stupid stuff. And
The cheap stuff.
yeah, particularly this is like Evo is the community where Marvel is massive and everyone in the room is going crazy over this infinite, this loop, this lockdown, this whatever. Not zero lightning loops though. They don't like those.
Yeah, too much zoop zoop.
So yeah, I kind of knew, and I wasn't expecting to actually get cheered for though. I just kind of thought there would be crickets, really. Every time I got an infinite, like, when's it gonna be over? But it turned out there was more hype around it than I thought.
So, touching on your journey at Evo, we talked about the moments building up to it. How did you feel after the tournament had concluded, after you made it to the grand finals of what was not only one of the biggest Smash tournaments, but one of the most watched tournaments of all time?
I felt tired because going into my zone, like the zone that you need to play in front of such a large crowd and not lose composure at all, like I was just dead tired. Later reflecting on it, I just thought, I knew I could do it. That's what kept me going for a lot of years, was just, I believe I'm going to be able to at least touch the top. I didn't get to stand at the top for very long before Mango came from loser's bracket and kicked me off the mountain, but I did get to look down for a second and be there, and that kind of made the 9-year journey worth it. And also because in order to do that, I had to get a handle on so many emotional and focus problems that I had going through my career. I wanted to quit years before, but then I realized Smash, the pressure, the investment I had, what it created for me was a way to test my own development. It's like, how focused am I? How am I thinking? How am I feeling? How do I respond to failure and react to success? I realized Melee could be a yardstick for that, so I stuck it out. And I kept going even when I wanted to quit. And then when I thought about Evo, I thought, I did it. I won that game, like that personal game, more than just a game of Melee. So I was pretty happy with that.
As a massive underdog, I can definitely recognize with your feels, because I come from Canada. I come from a very low-key region, and I always feel like it's me against the world when I play someone. How are you able to take all that emotion, all that mental imagery that you had going into the finals match and just brush it to the side? Because you said you had a breakthrough where your mental and your technical skill were just on another level, where you were at the top. So talk about breaking that barrier from being an underdog and making it to the upper echelon at the pinnacle of Smash.
We kind of came to realize that focus is as much an emotional behavior as it is a mental one. And I wanted to master all the emotions that kept creeping in. Like I would get frustrated and I would mess this up and then I'd beat myself up. And I realized it said a lot about me, how I responded to these errors. And finding a way to control them was what I cared about most for the 2 years or so leading up to Evo. And I knew that when I was in my best emotional state, I also happened to play my best. But there were times when I played my best and I lost and I didn't care. I was just happy to be there. It was trying to find the sweet spot where all those things coincided so that I could show up and I could have an amazing time and happen to give the best run of my life.
So moving forward, presently in 2014, you've made the transition now from player to commentator and also content creator. You've talked about how you explored the mental aspects of your game so much and how it's helped you grow as a person by overcoming this adversity in Smash. Would you just like to comment more about your future projects touching upon the psychological aspects of competition?
Well, like I said, I started seeing Smash as a yardstick for my own personal development because I realized that no matter what you do, you take yourself with you. If you're playing Melee, it's you, and then if you go out and you get a job, it's still you, and then you find a relationship, and that's still you. And if you only focus on the one thing, then you learn something about that thing. If I focus only on Melee, I learn about Melee, but what does that teach me about whatever job I get later? It doesn't. If I focus on myself while playing Melee, I learn about me, and then that carries over. So I became really interested in this aspect of personal development. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Anything you do can be very contemplative and introspective and a self-improvement activity. And it just so happens that I also really like Melee. So I got the chance to do that. And then I decided there are a lot of people out there who love competitive gaming, even if they never want to try and be a pro, even if they don't really mind one way or the other if esports takes off. They're still there and they're still loving it and meeting awesome people and having a great time. And wouldn't it be amazing if this experience I had could be shared? So I spend just a ton of time writing down the thoughts I have on that subject and detailing the traps that I fell into and how they apply to other people, because I think I'm a lot like other people with my perfectionism, my self-judgment, especially in the gamer crowd. I think there's an interesting selection effect where we tend to draw perfectionists and people who hate failure and people who get very frustrated. And I think that if you focus on improving yourself, if I write down the ways that I improved myself and lots of people take it with them, they're not just going to get better at the game, they're going to get better at being the best version of themselves. And then thinking about that makes me think, that's awesome. I would love it if people took that away and then later they thought, you know, I became a better student because I read this thing about competitive gaming. Like, how awesome would that be?
Yeah, the positive psychology behind a lot of your pieces, I feel, is very motivational, not only for high-level players, but also for players that are just starting to get into the competitive mindset. Because tapping into that mental aspect of your game is very crucial to leveling up as a player, I feel. And from what you said, you've clearly put the work in the lab, but you've also taken the time to get to know yourself and overcome your mental, personal roadblocks. And that wraps up another episode of Challenger Approaching. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Wobbles and also Nana. Just give the people an opportunity to get in touch with you, to get more involved with your work, because I feel like you're someone who's making quality work for the community, and it definitely needs more exposure. So where can people reach you at?
I have a blog at www.competecomplete.com. There's a hyphen, so compete-complete.com. And then I also have a Twitter, Eskimo Rob, ESKIMAUX Rob. It's a little weird, but you'll probably find me if you search hard enough. And that's where almost all of my updates go. I write about psychology, learning, emotion, and the things that make you a stronger individual, with an emphasis on how you translate it into the awesome hobby of gaming. So thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it.
Winton Smith, however, the Smash community knows me as the guy that loses his voice on the regular. Melee on me's very own Prague.